Welcome to the fifth and last episode of this series on tambour beading. You're listening to an English voiceover of an originally Dutch video series. In this episode, we're going to show you how you can attach your beads and sequins to your fabric with chain stitch and a lunafil hook. And this is really what it's all about, so we're very excited about this episode. We're going to the embroidery frame, and there are different videos on how to mount your frame. Here you have the filagan again. This is very strong thread. It's cotton and it's wet, so it doesn't curl up. You can see we're using a bobbin holder, and this bobbin holder works very nicely to secure your bobbin, and it doesn't go anywhere. You can just put it on your embroidery frame like this. So we'll start with transferring the beads and sequins to your thread. We're starting with beads because I think it works a little bit more easy than sequins, and you'll receive a strong thread like this of about 50 centimeters. It's a strand of 50 centimeters, and you can open the knot. And then the first bead we're going to tighten right away, so because you don't want to lose all your beads, because it's not strong for nothing. Okay, and then the other side we're going to make it just a small flat knot to your thread, so we can transfer the beads. And then carefully transfer the beads to the thread, to the filagan. And always work above a table or your embroidery frame, so when something goes wrong, your beads will be safe on your table and not all over the floor. And then carefully transfer them. Sure, your knot may just pop out and then you lose your beads. So we're going to hold the beads down to the bottom side of your fabric. The right side, when embroidering beads of your design, will be below. So we quickly make the start of the bind on, the cast on of your embroidery, and I'm using my favorite method that really also secures the end of the thread, so you won't be able to lose your beads anymore. So you can see here the lower side of your frame, and this is the side on which we're going to embroider the beads. So we're making the chain stitches as we've shown in the second episode. So you have to push up your beads every time you make a stitch, and you have to get used to how you hold your beads the best way in your left hand, and you'll get the hang of it. It's just really finding out what's the right way for you. The main thing is that with every stitch, you're pushing a bead up in between the stitches to secure them. Now your chain stitch length has to be about as long as the beads are, so they'll be nicely close together. And I'm embroidering a bit too large right now, so the chain stitches could come together a little bit smaller, a little bit tighter, so the beads are nicely aligned. But these are also things, well, it depends on how you want your design to be, and what works for you. So you can also see the thread through the beads, in between the beads, so it doesn't matter what kind of thread you're using. Yes, and this is how this works. So you see we're working on the bottom side of the frame. And should you want to make an extra embroidery without the beads or sequins, you can just turn your frame and work on the right side. So now we're going to use the sequins, and we're making a flat knot, small knot, and transfer the sequins to the thread. And I'm sorry, the image is not as a little bit fake on this last part, but it's really the same as with the beads. And for me, it's a little bit more difficult to get one bead or sequence at the time, and for sequins it's even more difficult than for beads, because before you know it, you have two in between one stitch, and that's something you would rather not have, because it gives irregularity. But should you find out after you've finished your design there's places where you have two beads or two sequences in one stitch, you can just cut one out and you don't have to start over. Just with a scissor or a little so we quickly cast on so our end is secure and we're not losing all the sequins. So with sequins a little bit different is the stitch length. You use half the size of the sequence for your stitch length, so your sequence will be nicely embroidered, I think you call it, so nicely over each other. So as I said, getting the sequence between the stitches a little bit more difficult. So make the stitch the length of half a sequence. And sometimes your sequence will go one way or the other, but usually after you've done the stitch it will flip the right way by itself. And your sequence will be imbricate, so you have to consider when embroidering your design which way the sequence will be over each other. And I'm using a rather small sequence. I think there are 4 millimeters here. A little bit larger would be better for starters, maybe 5 or 6 millimeters. And also cup-shaped sequins are a little bit more easy to embroider than flat sequins. So yeah, I'm really sorry the video is a bit unclear here, but yeah, we'll turn to the other side of the fabric to see the lower side also, and you'll see a few stitches here too. So yeah, that's really it. This concludes this series on how to do this, and yeah, I would really like if you have designs or are inspired by this video series, you should get in contact and show us pictures. We'll happily share them on Facebook. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you online someday. Bye.